Welcome here to Chaos. This is Woman's Hour. I'm Helen Tite, and with me today is
Pat Taylor. Good morning.
She's back. I don't know if you remember, but in our last Woman's Hour, our Pat was poorly. So, and actually we're going to hear a little bit about that story later on in the show today. So, welcome to 2022.
Wow. So you can join the conversation today. We are live on Facebook and Chaos and our YouTube channel. So please log in and join us. And you can call in at 01872 228844 or email us at hello@thisischchaos.uk. And the topic today is a little bit of a warning if you're a bit squeamish. Prolapse. Over to you.
Okay, so we will be talking about prolapse in menopause and discussing, we'll just start that conversation today, but coming up in the show, we have a guest speaker, Gemma Lawley. Now, Gemma Lawley is the organiser of She Swims Falmouth, which has now over 2,500 members. Wow. And we're going to have a lovely chat with her and explore her mission on this planet. Also coming up, we are discussing how fashion and style has adapted because of menopause. So yes, it is a big menopause session, this session. Okay, but first, let's talk about prolapse.
So, what is prolapse? What is it, and what is it? Do you want to explain?
Okay, so firstly, just so we can clarify, we're health and wellbeing specialists, but we're not diagnosing anything, but we are going to talk about prolapse. Prolapse, what is it? So it's actually when your pelvic organs start to move south. And this is kind of a big deal for many women. It may be because of estrogen depletion, it might be to do with trauma, and that includes trauma of childbirth. It doesn't happen to all females, but it is something that to be aware of. And actually, what I'd like to talk about just quickly is why it's so important to check your undercarriage. Like, we're really comfortable talking about breast awareness, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, but nobody talks about your undercarriage.
Can we talk undercarriage?
Is your favourite?
I call it undercarriage,
yeah.
And that's, please not to offend anyone. It's just that we work so prolifically with the older population. Yeah. We have to find a softer language, never offended. Yeah. So that's why we talk the way we do.
Yeah, and sometimes they call prolapse pelvic organ prolapse, don't they?
Did I say pelvic organ?
You said pelvic organ. Yeah, but sometimes it's shortened to POP, isn't it?
Yeah.
POP. So just in case you've seen something that looks like POP and what is it?
Well,
that's what it is.
As you would with recognising there's something different with your boobs, it's the same there. So sometimes you can have a bowel prolapse. You can have a front wall prolapse, which affects your bladder. You can have a bladder prolapse, vault, so top of the uterine wall, the whole thing is dropping down from the top. It depends. There's 5 essentially. We're not going to go into too much detail because we do recognise we are airing this, but the conversation does need to be had. And when I say that about the conversation needing to be had, it is literally, we have to make women more and more aware of things. When it's not right or it's not normal, when do we take it further? So who does it happen to? So we've talked about women, childbearing, it might be fast deliveries, and certainly that's what happened to me. I had very large babies and very fast deliveries, and I think that was the start of my journey then, which then took me on to having a prolapse repair, the back wall repaired when I was in my early 30s. Then that becomes a conversation around sexual health, confidence, lack of confidence. You start to get a bit scared when things aren't working the way they're supposed to.
And I think it's really prolific, isn't it, in menopause? We see a lot of menopausal women who have a prolapse because of that drop in estrogen. And what I wanted to ask was, how would somebody know that they've got a prolapse? people hear about prolapse, but unless you know about it specifically, how would I know I had a prolapse, for instance?
Well, there would be a combination of things. Some people have no symptoms at all.
Yeah.
That's really important to understand. But sometimes they will feel like a bit of a bulge when you have a little wipe, or maybe you're struggling to poo. So sometimes you have to actually manipulate what's going on underneath to try and have a proper poo. It might be that suddenly you're weeing more, pooing more. So I think that the best starting point is saying that it doesn't feel like it used to.
Yeah.
Whether that's just normal activities of daily living, or maybe to do with your sexual function, your bowel movements, like things, they're not working. And I remember when I was in perimenopause, I remember being in a strength training session and me thinking it was really uncomfortable. And I'm a Pilates teacher, so we talk about pelvic health all the time as part of our health and wellbeing work. And here we are, and here I am struggling with what's going on. So I think the best advice is to examine, to have a little look, and many of us will feel a little bit uncomfortable about doing that. I'm not asking you to have a full rummage if you don't want to, but it's definitely worthwhile having a little look. Maybe on a monthly basis, as you would examine breast, and you know, the viewers, the men that are watching, it's always important to do a testicular check as well. So it's the same kind of thing, and understanding what's going on in your body is key to prevention. And it is one of those things that if you're on board and you're being proactive about your body and your health, it may stop bigger problems in the future.
And it can feel like pressure, can't it? Some pressure, especially if you've been out walking, dragging.
Pressure,
people say pressure, or you might be aware of something further down that doesn't, like you say, doesn't feel normal. But a lot of people say pressure if they're jogging or just walking and doing those day-to-day things that mean that you're putting pressure on. And maybe you might feel it when you're coughing.
Yes.
So rather than, and we'll come into that in a minute about how to prevent it, when you're coughing, you're not actually holding your pelvic floor in, so you're actually pushing down, aren't you, and making that problem worse. So you can feel it when you're coughing or sneezing. So
I mean, it's classic, isn't it? When you're in with your girls and you crack up laughing, and somebody laughs so hard they cross their legs. You know, again, it's really interesting that this happens, but it's not necessarily normal. So, and that's the message. And I think certainly over the last couple of years with the pandemic, we've been less inclined to visit the GP because they're busy, we've got a pandemic, it feels so insignificant, and yet it's a very real part of female life. So check, stay healthy, and find a really good Pilates teacher.
And we teach pelvic floor exercise in all of our sessions, don't we? All of them, because it affects everybody, and everybody can make improvements to their pelvic floor health. So,
and we did have a little worry, didn't we? We felt sad because the older generation, many of them really struggle with talking about these subjects, which are historically taboo. And we felt quite sad about it because, you know, there's a lot of women that are suffering in silence, and that's the change. You know, there's a big mission now for women to be honest and open about their conversation around their physical health, their mental health, and particularly their sexual health. It's no longer a taboo subject. We don't want anybody suffering, and if you're ever concerned, you contact your GP first. There are plenty of support groups within, you know, the likes of the social media platforms, loads of support groups, including ours. But our first port of call would always be, if you don't feel like it's right, it doesn't feel normal, visit your GP first. Your GP will often say to you, think about your diet, make sure you've got fibre in your diet, and would always talk about hydration and exercise. And that's the key, you know. It's like, oh God, here we go. They're banging on about exercise, and particularly Pilates is really, really good and healthy for your female health.
I was doing a little bit of research in the night when I was wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I picked up something called the Knack Method.
Oh,
have you heard of the Knack Method? And it is just what you've described. It is when you're going to cough or sneeze, you pull in, you hold in, so that you're actually engaging your pelvic floor muscles, so you're not pushing everything down, and then you cough or sneeze.
I do
sometimes.
Don't we film that?
I think yes, we do. Yes, one of our sessions is.
So why is it called the Knack?
I can't remember, because I think you need the Knack. I should have looked that up. and then I look, and then it's obviously said about estrogen and HRT. Yeah. So if you're struggling and you are menopausal, perimenopausal, look at HRT and estrogen
and collagen, because you know the actual vaginal vault is connected by ligaments. Yeah. So as menopause comes on, we lose estrogen, but we also lose, and estrogen is also connected to collagen. And that's why you see everywhere that real sort of, again, being proactive, take collagen supplements, for example.
Yeah, it's all about tissue
good old
health.
Bone broth soup.
Yeah, tissue health. And it does say, and it's always controversial, isn't it, about losing weight, and we talk about losing fat rather than losing weight, and that is because the more pressure you've got on your belly, and menopausal women have belly fat because of the lack of estrogen, so it's really difficult. It's chicken and egg, isn't it? But if you can kind of try and tone up and lose some belly fat, it's less pressure on that area, less pressure pushing down on your pelvic organs. So all of those little tips to help you to prevent anything getting any worse, but actually helping to improve what you might have going on down there.
So Sarah Nuki, she says, my mum said she had a prolapse, but I felt really uncomfortable talking about it. Is it hereditary? I'm worried. Okay, so that's really interesting. Firstly, genetics do play a part in all of our lives. So when we approach holistically approach a person, we will talk about genetics. That's good to know. It's good to know health history of parents, particularly if our mums have had hysterectomies early or they went through menopause early. Try and ascertain as much information as you can, but not to worry. I would definitely go and have a conversation with your GP in the first place if you've got any further concerns.
And quite often in some of the practices they have some nurses, don't they, practice nurses who are quite specialised in pelvic floor health, and especially like if you need to have a smear or a checkup, ask them to have a look and ask them to let you know if you think that you've got a problem down there. Yeah, down there.
Is that a bit like
down
saying
nether
woman of an age?
Yeah,
because you know there's a lot of women that don't like us saying women of an age, but the bottom line is 45 and above. That's midlife, girls, and it's the best years of our life. It's an unlocking. You know, we've done what we're supposed to do in life. The next bit is the most vibrant part of our living. So it's okay to be menopausal, and it's okay to reinvent yourself in your 50s.
And one more question. So there's quite a lot of information about Kegels. What is Kegel? What does it mean?
So pelvic floor exercising and Kegels are slightly different. Kegels are the contract release of the pelvic floor. Pelvic floor exercises also can be bigger than that. We can start to correlate exercises that link in diaphragmatic movements, using breath, working more of your trunk function. So pelvic health and pelvic floor exercises are slightly different to Kegels. Kegels is just a one-off. But actually, over the years, we've learned more about Kegels. It's not always the answer, because we spend a lot of time zipping up and locking it all in that we forget to turn it off as well. So it's just as important to just relax your pelvic floor. But that, I think we need to save for another day.
Yes, we do, because you talk about that all the time, don't you, in Pilates?
High tone. Yeah. And it just, if something gets too strong and overstimulated, it can just lock, and that is what a lot of females have. So we're constantly turning it on, we're just forgetting to turn the engine off. So we've got to learn how to relax, and as we spend more time thinking about mindfulness and meditation, for example, we learn to have that body scan where we can switch things off and relax things down. Okay, so we never seem to have enough time.
No, we don't.
We kind of like go boom, 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 boom through these sessions, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back to that if there's any further questions around Prolapse. Don't forget, we've got the Menopause Muse group on Facebook. So look us up, join in. It is women only because we have to create that safe space for females to have that conversation. But feel free to message us through the social media channels or info@iCareIMove to pursue this conversation. Still to come. Okay, so we're going to come over to our guest, Gemma Lawley. So hopefully we'll be able to patch her through.
There she is. Hi, Gemma.
Hi,
Hello.
Gemma. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's really nice to meet you. And also, you've got dry hair.
I know.
So
Clean and dry.
So Gemma, thank you very much for being here at Women's Hour here at the Chaos Studios. We invited you because I've seen you on social media, and I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Helen. I met you, so I've known of you a long time because of your mum. But I met you on one of my first swims in Swample Beach, and I didn't know who you were, and I'm blind as a bat. I'm in the water without my glasses on, and you go, "Hi, it's so nice to see you. Can I take a photograph of you?" And you had your GoPro, and I was like, "Oh, who's that?" And you took photos, and I'm like, "Oh my God, somebody's taking photos of us," and we're just literally bobbing, not swimming. And then Pat went, "That's Silla's daughter." She swims
right.
Falmouth. And we've never looked back. So she swims Falmouth. Tell us about it. And
Okay. Well, it kind of inadvertently started. Really, I've kind of swum all year round for the last 5-6 years, and then because it had been COVID times, a lot of my friends around the September time said, "Oh, we kind of want to keep going through the winter." So I just started up a Facebook group really to kind of connect people, to put on conditions and to post when they were going to go swimming, and it grew from there really.
And today you have 2,500 people in your women in your Facebook group. Did you have any idea when you started this journey how wonderful it would be and what a game changer it's been for many, many women?
No, not at all. I think because I've always swum, I suppose I don't take it for granted, but you do sometimes take it for granted that other people haven't swum much before in the sea or haven't been cold water swimming. So when there's lovely posts on the group about people how they've still, only recently found it, and it's given them so much, both physically and mentally, it's amazing, really. That it's still having that effect on people all the time.
Hey, listen, we're going to be talking about fashion later. I've got to talk about the famous dry robes. It's changed, isn't it? The whole world now. You can't be a swimmer unless you've got a dry robe, red robe, a robe. And women are walking to the beach completely fabulous in the biggest, baggiest towels and funky shoes, bobble hats. I've even noticed that somebody is knitting gorgeous gloves and leaving them on people's towels on the beach. How wonderful is that?
It's so cool though, isn't it? To all have your dry robes and all meet down the beach and have a cup of tea after and warm up, piece of cake. And all these all people joining all the time, aren't there? New people, and it's contagious, I think. One person sees that you've been in for a swim and they kind of say, "How was it? Aren't you scared? Isn't it freezing cold?" And then the next minute, they're in and joining in, and it's just wonderful to see that community of people joining in.
People used to say to me, "Oh, you're mad." All the people that used to comment on my Facebook, "Oh, you're mad. Oh, why are you doing that?" And now they're all doing it and going, "I know what you mean now." Because like you said, it is addictive, just getting that buzz. I mean, the other morning I was out on Sunday and it was really busy, and there were so many women particularly, but men as well, just out on a January morning enjoying the water and being outside, and that positive impact on their mental health, and like you said, they're chatting and having a cup of tea and doing something social that they wouldn't have normally been doing. So and like we said, over the pandemic it's been funny times in terms of socializing. So actually where we live and being able to utilise outside and still socialise within the restrictions that we had, I think that meant a lot to people, and being part of the group was part of that as well, being able to kind of share their experiences and be part of something, even though it was on Facebook.
Yeah, and I think what you just said, being part of something, I think what really surprised me, and you know, people who know me know that I've really struggled with my mental health and anxiety, but have you any idea what an impact you've made?
I don't think it's me. I don't think I've made an impact. I think it was just, I don't know, it was at the right time, and Falmouth has got a great community. I do think that women are supporting women a lot more now than we used to, or we're a bit more verbal about it. I don't think we were unsupportive of each other, but I think that's part of it as well. You know, one of the reasons why I did want it to be just women is to have that safe space as well. Like you talked about, where we can, you know, we're in our swimsuits and we're laughing, and we're not, you know, one of the great things about it is you don't have to get dressed up. You just come down, like you said, with your dry robe and your, you know, swimsuit and woolly hat and everything. So all of those kind of things that you perhaps normally meet people are left, aren't they? You know, makeup and what you don't care what you look like. And it is nice to have that safe space as well, where people can post their pictures and talk about mental health as well, and how swimming affects them.
And Gemma, I think you're absolutely right there. It is a safe space. I completely get that. And I come from a place of body positivity, and to watch women just unrobe when they've been so scared to just, like, I remember speaking to one lady who had said all those days lost in her life where she couldn't go out because felt too fat, too ugly, too this, too that. And now I see her on Swanpool Beach in a bathers and strutting her stuff, and how liberating is that for women? That's what I keep coming back to. And I'm not prolific on your group at all. I sit back and watch the joy that just oozes out of your Facebook group. But I think you've empowered a huge amount of women.
Yeah, and I think, you know, as a starter, so we started, didn't we, last year, I think, Sea Swimming.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. And being a newbie, as it were, to sea swimming, you don't know about tide times and
we
about
were clueless.
We were clueless, and about the dumping on the tide. And I think, Gemma, you've shared all of that information so that if you're a bit unsure, you can go on the page and say, oh, I can go in today, it's safe, or there's going to be a group to watch me, or to just keep an eye. And sharing that education and the snippets you put in about training, if you wanted to, is just really empowering, and it is that safe space. And then I think that's allowed other people to share their stories and the bits of information that they've picked up, and then it has become a huge community where if you dip in and out and say, oh, what's it like today, I'm not sure, or the tide's really bad, or there's sewage on Swanpool, where should we go? So you've got those options of where else you can go and join in with other people that you wouldn't normally meet and say hello to. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we have talked about, like I said in a post the other day, setting up as a CIC so we can do a bit more with mental health and water safety and stuff. But the group just ticks along quite nicely as it is. And even though we've got 2,500 women on there, it's still got the same laid back vibe as it did when I set it up, because, you know, I didn't really have any ambitions for the way that it was going to be, but it is quite nice, like you said, that people can just drop in and out, and we do have group swims that we meet up for, but there's no pressure. And you know, one of the ladies posted that even though she wasn't kind of feeling brave enough to speak to the others at the beach, it was really nice to know that people from the group were there and she felt that safe space. So that's good.
So what challenges do you have you faced building this social group and this social network?
I don't know. I think, like I said, I've been really lucky, and it's just kind of maintained that vibe the whole way through. I've always tried to make it really inclusive. I know it is only females only, if you like, women only, but you know, it doesn't matter what age, what your ability, whether you're new or not. We all have to start somewhere. And I've always said the sea is big enough for us all. So you don't have to be the best swimmer as long as you're safe. You know, you can, whatever size, you can wear a wetsuit, whatever enables you to get in the water safely and have a good time. That's the most important thing.
Okay, so you touched upon the wetsuit, skins or wet. So I'm too. I went up until about, I think it was mid-October, where I was still in my skins, and now I'm back in my wetsuit. Tell me I'm okay. It's all right to be in my wetsuit, and that I haven't failed.
You haven't failed. It all counts. People say to me, "Oh, they only go in for a minute." It all counts. It doesn't matter. You know, I wear different things on different days. You know, the good thing about wearing wetsuits is actually you can stay in longer, so you can enjoy the experience more, and you might get a bit more fitness maybe from it because you do more swimming. Whereas obviously when you just dip and it's 9 degrees, you can't really. I mean, lots of people kind of wear gloves and socks as well, just to take the edge off, but it just means they can stay in a little bit longer.
Yeah, because I remember when I started out sea swimming, my friends, my male companions said, "Well, you're not really swimming, are you?" And I replied with, "Well, it's not really about swimming for me. It's about my mental wellness and the joy that it brings."
Oh, I mean, for me, one of the reasons my youngest, he's almost 7. He's autistic. He was diagnosed when he was 4. For me, it's a massive reset, and it's so accessible. It's on our doorstep, and like you said, for me, it wasn't the fitness of swimming. It was that switch off and the mental health impact, the positive, impact that I gained from going in the sea, because it just feels like a complete reset. And I think, because you're in nature and you have to be, fully engaged in what you're doing, especially when it's cold, you can just switch off. Whereas when I go for a run or any other kind of exercise, if you like, that I do, I think I'm still thinking. Whereas with sea swimming, I'm not. I just completely switch off.
And every day is different, isn't it? Every day you go in. We went in one time, didn't we? And it was quite, quite rough.
It was our early days. We were a bit naive.
Oh, but we had
huge
the
waves.
Best time.
We just jumped. We just jumped waves
and laughed, and we had hats on, and they got soaking wet. But we left that day smiling from ear to ear, and I think we smiled for days, didn't we?
I've got that memory here right now.
It was amazing. Gemma, have you got any funny tales about sea swimming? Anything that you've come across or
I've
witnessed?
Got any particular funny ones? I mean, I was going to go in my pants this morning just a minute ago, but then by the time I'd been chatting to people on the beach, I was too cold to actually go in, because I didn't even have a towel, because I am quite well known for just nipping in on my way past the beach, because you don't know whether you're going to get the opportunity to go later. But no, like you said, I mean, we had a similar experience with the laughing on, I think it was on Boxing Day, when there were waves, and like you said, we were just jumping around, no one was swimming, but the women that were there, a lot of them wouldn't have gone in on their own, and they wouldn't have been there had it not been the group of us going in. And like you said, we were just laughing and screaming and throwing ourselves around, And
I think there's always that mild terror that there'll be something in the sea. Do you remember that day? And we were on Swanpool, and I felt something on my foot and squealed, and then you felt it and squealed, and then we quick swim away.
Do you know what I think?
Do you know what it was?
That came about. Like the jellyfish freaked me out.
Yes, that's right. It was, and it was, what was it? It was a piece of rope.
It was a bit of rope
that was anchoring something down. We freaked out.
It's when you're swimming with someone and then their leg touches your leg, and you're like, "Oh, it's only your leg." Oh. I've been swimming for years, and I still don't. Like you said, I'm sure the conger eels that aren't even there are out to get me. But that's why it's nicer swimming in the cold, because there aren't the jellyfish.
Yeah, that I was traumatized by the jellyfish at one point in the height of the summer. But
like you said, I mean, all these women are stepping out of their comfort zone as well. It's it is a big thing to some people, and we are stepping out of our comfort zone. We are doing something a bit silly and a bit bonkers that you wouldn't normally doing. And like we said, the mental health side is positive, the connection with nature, but also that kind of adrenaline as well. Giving yourself a boost.
So I'm in awe of you, because I'm somebody. Our business is all wrapped around supporting people and making a difference. But what's really humbling about this conversation is that you have no idea. You have no idea the impact you're having on people in your community, and that makes it even more wonderful, because this gets recorded and this goes out live anyway, but you need to chop this up and push this out, because suddenly I believe you'll get quite a few more people turning their attention, because we live in society, we're so quick to judge, we're so quick to have an opinion, and we're not, as you quite rightly said, being in the moment, and women supporting women is the best energy you could possibly have. So listen, where's the best place to swim in Cornwall?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think, for me, Swanpool is always going to be my home, if you like. I do often we try and go for like little secret spots and new swims. There's magical places that you can go for a dip, like Nanjazal down at Land's End, which obviously is posted quite a lot on Instagram these days. Nothing's really secret these days. I don't necessarily Kynance, there's some absolutely beautiful places, but for me, I think home will always be my favourite. And so it will be Swanpool.
You're never lonely on Swanpool Beach, and Gilly, you're never lonely there. There's always, and that was the nice thing, because when I first started out, I started about a week before you, and I come back going, I made friends.
Yeah, you did. I was jealous. I was like FOMO.
And these people going, oh, you knew, we'll see you back tomorrow, and we're like, oh my god, it was such a wonderful thing. Right, that's it, Mrs. Me and you go back in the water.
I thought that last night.
I've got a puppy. I'm so distracted at the moment because my puppy's not quite ready to do the sea swimming with me, but that's my intention. Listen, what's on your bucket list? What's next for you?
Oh crikey, I don't know. Sit down for 10 minutes and have a cup of tea. No, I'm busy teaching swimming. Swimming, it is my life, really. I still love it. I don't know, bucket list, I don't know.
So how often are people getting in touch with you about She Swims Falmouth?
Well, I have to do things, and again, it's the question of what were your intentions and why did you set it up? And I didn't really realise there was that need for it at the time, but it does just go to show that you can create these kind of amazing networks and positive things on social media. And like I said, I'm not necessarily pushing it at the moment, but it's still wonderful to see it growing, and still really nice when people comment and they're kind of, I was a lurker on the group and I went for my first swim. That's really lovely. So we'll just keep on going as we are, really.
Okay, so what would you say to somebody who's out there, one of our viewers who is interested, one of those lurkers that you've just chatted about?
I would say take as much information as you can from other people. Go for a group swim, get the knowledge and advice from other people who've been swimming. Like you said, at Swanpool, Gilly, a lot of these beaches, there's always people down there that you can speak to and ask advice. And just, be prepared when it's cold weather. Take lots of layers with you. Just, even if you just go in for a minute or two, just start with that. Get out, get changed, and you'll be buzzing and want to do it again.
Oh, thank you. Have you got anything to add? How can people get in contact with you?
So we do have an Instagram page, which I do message people back if they message us there. But mainly we are a group on Facebook, and it's a private group, like we said, to keep everybody's kind of confidentiality, if you like. But everyone can join. So we've got 2,500 women on there at the moment. Just join up, and you don't necessarily have to comment, but be a lurker, and hopefully one day you'll feel brave enough to join in.
Excellent. Gemma, thank you for your time today. Send our love to your mum, by the way.
I will do.
And it really is a true honour to speak to you and to remind you that you are an incredible person making an impact in our community.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. So next up, that's almost it, but we're going to talk about fashion choices for women in menopause. Why is it such a thing? Why do we have to think about fashion being slightly different? Hot sweats and so many things.
I do.
So we're in for a proper chat now.
I do like a bit of styling. You know me.
Yes.
And I am very matchy. I like my vibe. I like what I wear. But I am everything I need to. Everything I buy. Yeah. I have to do this mental checklist.
Yeah.
So firstly, am I going to get too hot? Like this top is risky for me.
Yes, it's high necked.
It's high neck and hot,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I don't have sleeves. So I feel like this is hilarious. I feel like we're on Good Morning Britain or something. And I think about, from my point of view, I'm taught, but I've also got this condition called lichen sclerosis, which is just not nice. But when I get a flare up of my undercarriage, loose clothes.
Yeah.
So, and like long gone were the years of the thong, darling.
Oh no. Oh, God forbid.
So it's all about comfort.
Why would you now?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Thongs?
No.
So cotton pants.
Cotton pants. Nice. Yeah. And we quite often go shopping together, don't we? And we will look at, no, you can't do high necks. You've got big boobs, but it is that it's hot, it's itchy, so I can't wear jumpers anymore without a long sleeve top underneath because I'm itching. I'm constantly pulling this away from my belly because my belly.
A tick, you know.
It is.
You do that a lot.
I know, and I do, and I find myself because I got a bit of a wobble on there. So loose clothings, but layers. So layers for me because you're quite hot sometimes, and I'm blooming freezing.
When you say sometimes.
All the time. Well, no, because I'll get in your car and it'll be really hot, and you kind of go, oh, is it? And then, but most of the time you're really hot, and then that means I'm really cold.
Yeah.
But I do get hot flushes, but mine are much less than yours. So then it's like throwing. It's normally in bed,
And they're
and I'm
different.
throwing
Can we just be
everything off.
like hot flushes change, don't
Yeah.
they? I had. I know I've told you this before, but I had a meeting with a new client. And it was September, October time, so it was still quite warm. And I had a navy dress on, sleeveless, because that's nice and cool for me. And he was talking to me. We were sat in quite a big space, but I could feel this flush coming on. And I couldn't listen to what he was saying because the sweat was just running down my nose and then trickling off my nose. And I was more conscious than that than I was anything else. And it really made me think about what I wear. About the same time, I had another meeting where a pale blue shirt, hot flush, and just had sweat marks everywhere, and it was just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
But this is the other thing I want to share with you. Look at these, right? Can you see my shirt? Hang on. Look. You can't. Oh, they don't sparkle. Right. Look. Can you see them sparkling?
I can see them sparkling this side.
Can you see them sparkling? There you go. Right, so I've got sparkles. I love sparkles. My point is, I was told that because I've danced and I've done fitness all my life, my feet hurt. Again, it's another symptom of bloody menopause. But it is like that. My doctor said, you got to quit any heels, no flip-flops. You've got to wear more of a supported shoe. I cracked up laughing after I drank maybe a bottle of wine because I was mortified because she said, try hotter. I was like, I'm too young for the hotter shop. Anywho, I've totally changed my wardrobe to accommodate all trainers. And actually before my GP told me to stop wearing heels and wedges and flip-flops, I already said, because we're health and well-being practitioners, when we go out and talk, we need to walk the walk. Yeah. So I'd already started transitioning, but I wear trainers with everything. So sparkle-tastic, and I do like as many sequins or Swarovski crystals as possible on all my footwear. End of. And I don't mind investing in great shoes now because it's comfort.
Who'd have thought?
I know. And I have got beautiful heels.
Yeah. But they're trendy now. Trainers, you see all the celebs in trainers. It's a
really good vibe.
Dresses and trainers, it's quite cool.
And the odd occasion, so at Christmas I wore heels. I took trainers. So I arrived, I had the black dress on and the sequins and I had the heels on. Looked fantastic for about 20 minutes. They went, sparkly trainers came out. But fashion is a thing, you know, we are conscious. We don't want to look frumpy. No. We are conscious of our change in shape. Our mental health is affected during the menopause years, or can be affected. That it's more around the mental well-being. And sometimes because we recognise or we're trying to come to terms with the fact that we're not necessarily the woman that we once were, we've got to manage all of that. So we want to feel fantastic and we want to feel fabulous. And there's a lot of fashion brands that don't even do that, don't even acknowledge that if you're midlife and you've put on a bit of chub, it's beige.
Because you want loose, but you don't want loose and shapeless.
Yeah.
Because you've still got a shape,
Yeah.
and you still need to celebrate your shape.
Yeah.
You don't want to live in a tent, but you want to be comfortable, don't you?
Yeah.
So it's finding that happy medium and finding that brand or those brands that do cater for you.
Yeah.
And your new shape to make you feel wonderful, like you should do.
But also to support that, we need a great friend to
Yeah.
like little cheerleaders, and I think this is a real good old message for us girls, like to go, oh, hello, you look fantastic in that little outfit today. So it's important that we share. So I am that girl, aren't I?
Yeah.
And I was invited to a wedding as a guest back in the summer, and it was like 4th attempt that they got round to getting married. And we had my girlfriend who was with me. She was in charge of making sure everyone had their masks on and that they were all sanitised and everything, because it was between the lockdowns. And I was supposed to do the same job as her, but instead anyone that walked into the church went, oh my God, you look lovely, look at your eyeshadow. So these people just loved me because I was just cracking on with their looks
and they
vibes.
feel wonderful then,
You
don't
tell
they?
people they look wonderful.
Yeah, they hold
and
themselves
it's not
differently.
fake.
No.
It's real. It's truly from an authentic place, because I say that to people and they light up.
Yeah.
You know, and it is important. We've just
Yeah.
got to remind each other that everyone's made of sunshine, right?
They are. So what can we do? What things should we wear? Because we live in Lycra, don't we, when we're teaching? So we try and dress as grown-ups when we can. So, you know, there's certain things that we can wear and certain fabrics, aren't there, that we can look out for? So the wicking fabrics. And
And there's some great brands now that have technical fabrics that they're using for their clothes. So they're and technical fabrics allow for temperature differentiation and changes. I think that is really important. Good proper underwear,
definitely supportive,
nothing elastic.
No.
So go for your good old cotton, but like still sucks you in. But anything lycra is just going to make you flipping hot, isn't it? Like your thanks type undies.
And we do a lot of work for menopause in the workplace, and we're trying to get companies and businesses to look at uniforms, aren't we? Because, you know, I'm a nurse, and thinking about my days in the hospital, it was so hot, and you'd have a tight, thick cotton uniform, a tunic and trousers or a dress, and you weren't allowed to not wear tights or, you know, have a drink. And the windows weren't open, they would open that much. So not just hospitals, the polyester fabrics that are in most uniforms these days, we've got to come away from that, haven't we?
The plastic aprons that we're wearing on top, your PPE.
So years ago we used to have cotton aprons when I did my training, and they were lovely.
Did you have a little cotton hat?
I did.
As well?
I used to have to make it every day, a paper hat. So we're trying to get the businesses and companies to look differently at how their staff can be more comfortable at work by wearing different uniforms. They can still look smart, can't they? But wear different uniforms, and just think about those women in your workplace and the environments and things that they're working in to make it a much happier, more comfortable place to work in when you're there so much of your time.
So here's the thing, if you are a fashion brand and you're out there and you've got some ideas for dressing the fuller figured midlife woman, get in touch with us. This is a real opportunity because we reach lots of women, but you know, it's really important. And I'm going to finish by saying the touch test.
Yes, or the lick test you call it sometimes, don't you?
It is, honestly, I am slightly ashamed of it. But first thing my family said, that if mum does a triple smooth, she really, really likes it. And you know, when you touch something and you go, I love that, right, the final test before I try it on is this. I lick my thumb. I kid you not. So this is pre-pandemic, and I'm so sorry that I do this. And then if you put it on your garment and it stains with your saliva, oh my God, you wouldn't do that.
You
now,
don't
would
want to
you?
get that. No, you would not.
Yeah, but if it stains it, you're like, oh, I can't have that because I'm going to either have a sweaty crotch or sweaty pits or a swety back or wherever sweaty knees, wherever you're sweating. So the touch test was really important. And I stand by it. So if it's going to mark, I'm out. You know, like beautiful silks. There's a lot of silk or satin fabrics that you're like, I love that, but it's just never going to happen. So if you really want something and you need it, and this comes back to the tools in your toolbox. You want to feel fantastic, and you have to arm yourself with as much goodness. So Pack yourself your own private cheerleader that can always make you and remind you that you are fantastic. You are all put on this planet to do wonderful things. Dress to layer. Feel comfortable and stand in your own power. And I mean that with, if you want to wear whatever you want to wear it and own it. Okay, so there's no rules about short skirts, tights and all of that malarkey. Wear what you want to wear and feel comfortable, but own it. There you go.
Beyonce.
Anyway.
So we were Pat and Helen. So what have we got? In 3 weeks we're back. You don't have to wait a month. 3 weeks.
3 weeks are back, and we're meeting up with amazing Gail Muller. Gail is a teacher, writer, and she writes about chronic pain. She's a chronic pain warrior and adventurer. I first met Gail many, many moons ago when I used to run my health club, and it is wonderful to see her journey now. She's bonkers, and she'll be great as a guest on our Woman's Hour.
And so if you want any more information, you can follow us or Chaos at www.icare, oh no, that's us, icareimove.com, or you can contact Chaos, and I can't see the number.
Chaos and all the usual
They'll
sites.
let you know. And but we'd like, oh, there we go, 01872 228844, and you can email them at hello@thisischaos.co.uk, and we just want to say thank you. And Chaos TV will be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock, I believe. So join the crew then.
You take care, be fabulous, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye.